Hello and welcome to COVID Craft Brew number 3. Today I'm going to review for you a Belgian Saison style beer that I did about 6 months ago. I used blackberries in this one, and I'm going to be honest with you, you can't really taste the blackberries. It's the first time I've ever done a Saison, and I kind of stole a recipe from Beersmith and bastardized it, and I don't know. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of this beer. The missus absolutely loves it, so she can continue drinking it. But as I've got nothing better to do, I thought I'd crack one open and talk to you about it. So here it is. Okay. Unfortunately, that beer I opened last night, which was the last 2 bottles of the dark beer. Turns out one of them was a Saison and one was a dark beer. So that one I had was the last one, which is a shame. But never mind, onwards and upwards. I've got other beers to drink, other beers to make. So we just keep going and we keep fighting and soldiering on. So I'm going to open this one up and have a listen out for the hiss. I had a little bit of smoke off there. Now, this is the first time that I've ever used Acid Malt, and Acid Malt, well, yeah, it does make it sour. It's only once I'd used it, and I've not poured that very well, have I? Should be concentrating on what I'm doing. It's only once I'd used it that I read up about it. But it was in the recipe before, and I thought, well, if it's there, then I'll use it. But it turns out they use lactic acid. Jesus, that's going mental. Look at that. Something at the bottom of the glass. That's not normal. It just keeps rising. It wasn't a bad pour at all. It's just something at the bottom of the glass make it fizz. Oh. That's going nuts. It's not a nucleated glass. I will have to have a word with my missus about her standard of washing up. This is not acceptable. So in this one, I used Pilsner Malt, 2-row Pilsner. I don't remember if I used any Marisota in there. I could check, but I'm using my phone to record, and that's where I'd look at Beersmith. So there was some Munich malt, Acid Malt, something else. But it's just a very small amount of Saaz, so it's very, very lightly hopped beer, which is probably why my missus likes it. She's not a big fan of hoppy beers. This is still going nuts. Look! It's going crazy. How can I kill that down a bit? Scoop some of that out. This has never happened to me before. There must be something at the bottom of that glass that's causing that. Okay, well, at least I can. I'm not going to be able to get it down to the liquid now. I'm going to have to drink through the head. That's going to knacker the aroma. But let's have a smell. I can smell. I used the Saison, dried Saison yeast for this, and I had to rehydrate it before I pitched it, which I've never had to do with a dry yeast before. And it smells like that yeast. It's just an overpowering smell of yeast in this brew. There's very, very little hops in it because there's such a small amount of Saaz in there. And I think that Saaz was 2.5 or 2.8% alpha acid. In fact, the sediment that you get in the bottom of the bottles, I did put blackberries in there. I think it was about 6 kilos of blackberries into a 55 litre brew, I think it was. And I thought that would be enough to give it colour and flavour. The sediment smells of blackberries, but that's it. You can't taste any or smell any blackberries coming off that whatsoever. There's not very much malt. I'm really not selling it at all, am I? Not a huge amount coming off that. If anything, I think it smells more like washing up liquid than beer. But okay, but we're going to jump in anyway and have a taste. I have to say, it tastes better today than it did yesterday, straight after the dark beer. It doesn't work well as a follow-on from the dark beer. They're two totally different, contrasting tastes. It is cold, and it is fizzy, and it is 6%. So, I mean, in terms of making a beer to get you drunk, it works. And I have to say, when I've been drinking this before, once I've had a couple of them, I've become quite accustomed to it, and it's quite quaffable. But I always think the first one's a little bit, excuse me, a little bit, not unenjoyable, but slightly less than pleasant. I will be able to post what's in this if you want. I certainly wouldn't recommend doing this recipe. But the missus has asked me to make another Saison for her. I might drop the acid malt. I only used a small amount of it. I think I had 200 grams of acid malt in there, but I don't know. When it was a month old, it was really sour, like really sour. And I was worried that it had gone off, but it's only then when I've done some research into the malt that I'd actually used, that it was the acid malt that's done it, and it has, that sourness has dropped off over time. I'm not a fan of sour beers. I know there's people out there that really love sour beers, but it's not for me, I'm afraid. It's just not my taste whatsoever. I like malty, strong, medium to dark ales. So, dog's going mental because there's somebody outside. So, that's in terms of what would I give this beer? 1 second, Gizmo, shut up. So, what would I give this beer out of 10? I think 4's a little bit harsh. I'd give it a 5. Anna would probably give it a 7 or an 8, but it is too strong for her because she can't drink that much. She's feeling quite drunk off 1 bottle and certainly definitely feeling drunk halfway down the 2nd bottle. So, I mean, you know, if your missus likes this kind of stuff and you do want her to shut up, then, well, actually, this can actually have the opposite effect after 2 bottles. But, you know, I will make it again for her, probably not quite so strong. But I won't be making this for me, I'll be making it for her. So that's all from me today. Again, if there's anything you want me to talk about, leave it in the comments below. Not going to ask you to subscribe, but you can if you want to. Just a reminder that this channel now is just a bit of fun for me to keep myself entertained during the isolation period. So you know, I'm not out there to make a career. I haven't monetized these videos at all. So it really is just a bit of fun and a bit of a laugh. So please join in, start up some dialogue with me, and I'll make some videos so that you want to see. What we're going to do tomorrow, probably give you a tour of my pub and drink some commercial beer, I suppose, because I can't really do anything homebrew wise until the weekend where I need to rack to secondary. Yeah, I might even do a little video and show you how they're getting on. I checked in there today and the fermenters are bubbling away quite nicely. So, yeah, thank you very much for watching. I will see you next time. I'm sure I'll find something to talk about with you tomorrow, and catch you on the flip side. Bye-bye.